Hello, crafters. Have you ever wanted to teach others how to craft? Maybe invite people in to be creative right alongside you? Then today's episode is for you. We are talking about how and why to start teaching your craft and how to open a craft studio. Hey, welcome to the Creative Ramblings podcast. My name is Sarah. I am so glad you're here. If you are new and just stumbling across us, we talk about crafting here on this podcast and all the things that go along with it. So if that describes you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. Today, we are talking about tips for opening a craft studio, and I have a special guest here who is in the process of opening her own. We are getting into not only logistics of how to open a studio and how to start teaching your craft, but the why behind it and the importance of building a community in our creative space. Before I get into our interview, I want to touch on some deals and news right before that. If you want to skip this part, just hit that next chapter button. It's going to take you directly to my interview with Michelle. It is March, which means Happy Craft Month. It is National Craft Month, and we are celebrating being creative. What this means for you specifically is there are deals everywhere, not only at the big kind of online retailers that I'm going to talk about in a moment, but your local craft stores and local businesses, those Etsy shops and small online stores that you like to frequent. They may be running some specials for National Craft Month. And even if they're not, it is a great time to support those local and small crafters in what they are doing. Speaking of local crafters, but on a larger scale, I went into Joann at the end of last week. We all know that Joann is closing, and so we are seeing closing and liquidation sales nationwide. I was in a store for the first time last week, and it was pretty picked over. I think all of us know that there are some things you can buy at Joann that you just can't get anywhere else. And that was the stuff that was just gone. I don't think there was much of any yarn left. The fabric line was around the store to stock up on those amazing fabrics that they offer. There was a lot of other kind of crafty and decor items left, but at the time I was in there, they were only 20% off. So, if you've got a Joann close by, just keep stopping in because as time goes on, those discounts are going to go down. You just have to play that game of, when do you buy and get the best deal? So keep supporting Joann until they're gone. All right, we've got some news from Cricut. They launched two new machines this month, the Maker 4 and the Explore 4. So these are upgrades to their two existing Maker and Explorer machines. They come in beautiful colors. The biggest upgrade is that they are faster, allowing you to create even faster. What I really like about these machines is when you purchase them in the box, not a bundle as I normally recommend, but just in the box, it's going to come with tools and materials to get you creating right away. Much more tools and materials than we have seen in the past. It allows you to get that machine in your home, open it up, and start creating immediately. I've also noticed that the launch prices on these two new machines are pretty good. They're a little lower than we saw like when the Maker 3 came out. These machines are not for everyone. If you own a Maker 3 or Explorer 3, you probably don't need to upgrade. But if you have an older machine like an original Explorer and you've been waiting to upgrade, now might be the time. The pricing is good, there's a lot of materials, and they're so much faster. I'm going to link Cricut's deals down below if you want to take a look and kind of make that decision if this is the right thing for you. We've also got Cricut's warehouse sale going on right now. This is just a huge clearance event online. I actually think it might be in person too, but I'm not anywhere near their headquarters. So online warehouse sale clearance on all kinds of things. If you have a minute, just go scroll through there and see if there's any material that you have always wanted to try that happens to be on sale. Now might be a really good time to do that. All right. Every month, Tech Wrap Craft has a box that goes out, and these are for sale until they're gone. So they're still available right now. You can select the type of material you want in your box. So adhesive vinyl, HTV, sticker paper. There's like 4 options. And you get a bundle of material at a great discount. You don't get to pick the colors and the styles, they surprise you, but it's a really good material for you to craft with. So you can go grab your box. If you buy multiple, there is a discount, and they're putting a free gift in every box this month. I've got Tech Wrapped linked down below, so go take a look at that before they sell out. Some news from Xtool that just came out this week. They are discontinuing their original M1 laser. This was the first enclosed laser that I had. It really got me started in my whole laser journey. I have loved the M1. There is nothing wrong with the M1, but they have recently come out with the M1 Ultra. And as most businesses do, as they move forward, they're going to get rid of those original models. The M1, excuse me, has been around, I think, for 4 years. So if you are an original or an existing M1 user, you're going to get some communication from Xtool on what this means. Their accessories and tools that go with it are going to be available for the next 6 to 12 months. And as an existing user, you're going to get a coupon to buy some of those accessories. You can continue using your M1 for many, many years. There is no reason to be upset about this. The software is still going to work with your M1. Firmware is still going to be upgraded, and support is still going to be there. This is just a normal part of business for most companies, especially those that make electronics and machines. They're going to discontinue stuff as they make new models. But I'm going to keep using my M1. You should keep using yours. Xtool is still going to be there for you. We have seen in the beginning of 2025 the introduction of home DTF printers. This is going to be huge this year, being able to print at home in what used to be really commercial manner. So 2 companies have come out with home use DTF printers that I think kind of changed the game. So Lockleek has one, and it is compact, super easy to use, fairly basic, but it comes in at a price point that is fairly affordable in the grand scheme of DTF printers. A DTF printer, if you want to learn more, go to a podcast episode I had a couple months ago breaking down exactly what DTF is. But essentially, you're printing to a piece of film, and then you could take that film and press it onto any fabric. So a garment, a shirt, a hat, a tote bag, whatever. You can sell the transfers. So if you want to put your art on a transfer and then sell it, so people can put it on their own shirts, or if you want to sell the final product and maybe put it on a hoodie and then sell that hoodie. Really big game changer if you are a small business owner. The ease and the speed of doing this is so much better than using HTV or sublimation. So Lockleek has a great one that's out, and it is still in the pre-sale. They're going to end up shipping in April, but you can get your hands on one now at a really, really great deal. Xtool has their apparel printer, just a little bit bigger, and has more add-ons, more accessories you can add with it. It's still a home use printer, but it feels a little bit more commercial. Still easy to use, still user-friendly, but I think you could do a little bit more with it. The Xtool apparel printer is in the Kickstarter phase through the middle of April, and the better they do on Kickstarter, the more bonuses and freebies that you're going to get as a customer. I'll link both of those down below. Today, we are talking with Michelle Beaton from We Can Craft. We Can Craft first started about 12 years ago as a place to showcase home and craft projects that could be done in the course of a weekend. Through the years, it has evolved into a lifestyle brand showing millions of people that you can craft a life you love. As part of this ever-evolving brand, Michelle is now opening an in-person craft studio. And today we're talking about what prompted this new venture and sharing some tips if you're looking to teach your craft to others, or if you're looking to create a community craft studio. Let's talk with Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. It's so good to be here.
I know, it's so great to be talking with you. We go so far back, but it's been a long time since we've talked like this. I think this is going to be a really great conversation today.
I know, I was thinking about it today. I think we have known each other probably 10 or 11 years since the
I
beginning
know.
of blogging.
I know. And so much has changed and so much has evolved over that time. And
Mhm.
we've navigated through this whole craft world. It's been a really exciting time. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Michelle. Tell us about Weekend Craft and kind of where you started 10 plus years ago and how we got to where you are today.
Yeah, so Weekend Crafts started, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. I had just moved back. I graduated from grad school and I was just kind of looking for a job. I was living with my parents. Um, and I needed that like creative escape. So I started to do craft shows. This was like in the age of when like people are flipping furniture. Um, that shabby chic chalk paint era
Mhm.
when we were all making signs.
Yep, yep.
So I started to make them, sell them at craft shows, and then everyone was asking me how I was doing it. So naturally, I started to just like document the whole process.
Hmm.
And then I ended up getting a silhouette and I joined the Silhouette Challenge that we were a part of where we met.
Yep.
And I started blogging consistently. So fast forward, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, I started to make like money off of it. Um, Started to grow my social following and really get into cricket. And then I kind of took a pivot towards food in the pandemic and then moved a little bit more into the lifestyle space. And I'm here now.
Here you are. It really has evolved. Like we met back when it was we were making crafts and teaching people how to make crafts, which I think we both still do. We still do that. But you've like you said, you've evolved into recipes and lifestyle and travel and all this other great stuff because you're just kind of naturally a really good teacher, and so we can come to you and learn
Thank you.
whatever it is you're teaching. So I love that. So what type? And you still do some crafts. What type of crafts are you
Yes.
focusing on now?
So I would say I focus a lot on machines.
Hmm.
I'll always have that passion for die cutting machines. Cricut is like where my heart is.
Hmm.
So definitely Cricut is my number one focus. But then I've also gotten in a bit into laser, into DTF,
Hmm.
um, and then I like general crafts as well. So like I don't know whether it's making seasonal decor or like
Hmm.
candle making or I've been getting really into, and I haven't been doing this on the blog. It's just personal. Like embroidering has been really fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So lots of good stuff, lots of those crafts that you had said earlier, you started painting signs and making signs, but now we're doing
Mhm.
a lot of that with machines and showing people how to kind of make it easier and have fun with
Mhm.
it still while you're
Like
creating.
this one was with my laser.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So I hand painted it and then cut out my logo on basswood, I think, or like a thin
Yeah.
plywood, and yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Something you can't do by hand.
Hmm.
So today we're focusing on something brand new we're doing because you have been pivoting a lot as things have changed. You said you've gone into recipes and lifestyle and all that. And your newest venture is opening up a craft studio, which is
Yes.
so cool. And that's really what I want to talk about because I think so many of us who craft often think, could I teach other people how to do this? Even if you're not a
Hmm.
content creator, it's kind of in your mind, like I could teach people. So, what made you kind of think of this idea?
So honestly, there's been a demand for it. Like the number one question in my DMs is like, do you teach cricket classes? Do you teach classes? Do you have a retreat? And then I've been to a whole bunch of retreats and they're like, when are you hosting one? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Um, so what was it, 3 weeks ago now? This is like
Okay.
brand new, guys.
Okay.
I have a studio space. I'm in like a 200-year-old mill building. It's gorgeous. I have huge windows, like exposed
Uh,
bricks, like love it here. And I was walking down the hallway and there was a door open with an empty studio. Um, and so me being the nosy person that I am, I poked my head in and I was like, oh my goodness. And like, when you just feel a calling.
yep.
And so
Mm-hmm.
like I immediately called my boyfriend and then I called my dad. And then my dad came up
Yeah.
like 30 minutes later, took a look at the space.
Uh-huh.
And then I went down and I started negotiating, like, because my lease is up here
Okay.
and that one's there. So I'm like, okay, let's figure this out monetarily to see if I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I am a planner.
Yeah.
And I just like
Yeah.
spontaneously jumped into it because it's something I had been thinking about. I've been in my studio space for 2 years here,
Hmm.
and I have been thinking about it the entire time that I'm here.
Hmm.
It's like, how can I host classes or have like a community center in this space? And I'm a little bit of a type A control freak sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know if I can have people in this space.
Yeah.
Like, this is my livelihood. Like, I have machines before they launch. This just launched. Like,
Hmm.
I just have to be really careful, or like my dream box, like, I don't want anyone to destroy that or go through
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I'd been toying around with this idea for 2 years, and this just like is a complete blank canvas.
Yeah.
Um, so I decided to do it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it is spontaneous, but yet it's not because it's been in
Yes.
your mind and people have been asking you to do it and you
Hmm.
naturally teach already online.
Hmm.
So it presented itself. It was meant to be. It's right there.
Yeah,
That's
and I've been teaching a
perfect.
lot of those summits,
Mhm.
and I haven't been enjoying them
Okay.
because it's like I'm teaching the class,
Mhm.
but like you're not getting that live feedback. There's no comments in there, so you're not getting the interaction.
Mhm.
Like I felt like I got comfortable teaching that way, but I wasn't feeling anything. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if I was helping people. I couldn't see live reactions. Like I didn't own the space. It didn't feel
Mhm.
like a fit for me. I stopped doing them over the last year because
Mhm.
while I love the people that host them and I love the content that's in them,
Mhm.
I was missing that human connection.
Mhm. And that is such a big part about teaching online, whether it's YouTube or a summit or Instagram, wherever you
Mhm.
are, versus teaching in person. You could tell the person what to do, but did they do it right? Did they really get it? Like, do they
Yeah.
have more questions? And even
At
when
the
they
end of
do
the day, did
comment or
anyone make the craft?
right, right, or do they just watch it and then move on? But when you're
Yeah.
in person, you can really like help them through something they're struggling with or
Hmm.
give them really positive feedback, and then you get to feel at the end like, wow, I did something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So there are benefits to teaching online because it's really accessible because anybody from all over the world can see it. But when you're in person, you have that connection, and that's
Mhm.
really awesome.
And
So,
I think it's like we're craving that human connection right now. If you
mhm.
think it, we're in this like post-pandemic world. Our craft stores are shutting
I
down.
know, I know.
Like, so, and I think people are just craving like that getting out interaction. Also, like, I want to cater to like, not like just women, but like, that girls' night out, like
Yeah.
maybe women that like are in that new stage of life that maybe need some new friends. Like,
Mhm.
I think this could be a good community aspect. People can recurringly come if they want, make new
Mhm.
friendships, make connections, just have a creative outlet, or like put
Mhm.
their kids to bed and come. Like,
I love that. Yeah, you could
yeah.
go with a friend or you could go alone. Like, I
Hmm.
want to meet some other creative people who I don't know in my community.
Yeah.
So you stumbled upon the location. That was fate.
Mhm.
You have a location.
Well, I stumbled upon it, but first getting this location was like over a year of figuring out, because it's very hard to find a space that one is affordable, is
Mhm.
in a safe area, and like fits what you actually need it to be, because I'm filming like a lot of YouTube videos. I can't have
Mhm.
like a wood shop next to me.
No. No. And you need to have some privacy. You need to have doors that
Yeah.
close, but you need to have good lighting and
Hmm.
absolutely. So, yeah, it took you a while to find that place, but
Yeah.
how cool that something opened up just down the hall. So then you're not
Yeah.
hauling all new things in. Like you have your supplies right down the hall if you need them
Oh
and
my
you
God,
can.
I'm 2 doors down. It
Oh, that
is
is so
perfect.
nice. That is
I have
so
like a little
nice.
cart that I just keep walking out, and I was like, I'm getting so many steps in today, and I'm not leaving this hallway.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. So location's awesome. And I think for
Mhm.
other people kind of thinking about doing something like this, most decent sized cities will have something like you're in. So
Mhm.
I'm in Wisconsin and Milwaukee has a lot of those big old buildings that have been renovated into studio spaces and that type of
Mhm.
thing. And so as long as they're within an area where people can drive and park, like it's accessible for others.
Yeah. And I think if you want to host craft classes, you do not need to invest in a studio. From
Hmm.
the research that I was doing, a lot of restaurants or like coffee shops will actually let you host for free during like off hours.
Oh,
So
that
if
is
you
so
think about
cool.
it, like a coffee shop or a cafe, let's say if they're open till 8, they probably don't have a lot of traffic like 6 to 8 or
Mm-hmm.
6:30 to 8 or 6 to 9, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing in people, they'll probably naturally go buy a bakery item, a coffee, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, or like even a brewery bar during a
Mm-hmm.
weeknight. A lot of them will collaborate with you. So that's what I was reading and researching
Okay.
before all of this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but if I want to include machines and such, like that just seems like a big headache to me. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing like candle making or like, I don't know, friendship bracelets or UV resin, any of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like you can totally do that without the investment of a space.
That is such a great point because there are businesses out there that are willing to collaborate, especially other small businesses who want to,
Hmm.
keep it local. Because a long time ago, I had started teaching some classes and I did a couple in my home, but it was
Hmm.
with friends because I don't want to invite strangers into my home. Like that's a big commitment. But then I
Hmm.
also connected, I had a friend who worked for a rec department and I taught craft classes through their rec departments. There's a lot of connections you can make out there before
Yeah.
taking that leap to a studio.
And if you are going to do like have a studio, I have a completely, I'm going to do craft classes, but I also have other revenue streams that I'm going to do with the studio space.
Okay.
So, something we've been looking into, my sister wants to kind of get on board with this as well. And we've been thinking about doing like craft birthday parties for kids.
Oh,
Like
fun.
Michael's offers them and they charge, I think it's like $300 for 10
Ooh.
kids. And
Ooh.
you always have more than 10 kids.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, what if we do something like that in this space?
Uh-huh.
And then for me, the second side of it, I'm going to set up like, I'm going to do seamless paper in it. I'm going to bring in like my green velvet couch,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like a cool chair. And I have photography lighting. So I'm going to list it on Peerspace. So if
Mm-hmm.
anyone wants to rent it out for like a photography session, there's
Yes.
3 people on my floor that rent out their spaces.
Okay.
So the need is already there. So if I can just figure out a way to kind of like supplement just the rent at
Mm-hmm.
first, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of thinking of all these different revenue streams. And I'm going to do things like, you know, what's a better way of saying stitch in witch?
I
Like
know exactly. The
a
paint
little
paint.
craft club.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yes. I know exactly what you mean.
But like if there's a way that I can do that, that like I don't know if it's Thursday nights or something, you pay $5
Mm-hmm.
to come and just craft, and like that'll be a great way to get my name in my studio, and I'm gonna take that $5 and like do charcuterie boards or something.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of figuring out like different ways, or are there book clubs that could rent that
Mm-hmm.
space? And if they do it like once a month, can I give them like a good deal or something?
Yeah.
So if you do get a studio space, don't be blinded by just you teaching your craft classes. What else could be hosted there?
That is such a great idea because so many creative people don't have a space outside of their home. We're crafting on the
Mhm.
kitchen table, or I think back to when I was growing up, the women older than me had all these scrapbooking parties and get togethers, and they were
The
always looking for
crofts.
space. Yes, the crofts.
Yeah.
They were always looking for space because nobody has that space in their home to host 10 women with all of their
Mhm.
stuff. And so to be able to have a space that's safe and for crafters, that's not,
Mhm.
also a coffee shop or also the library, that kind of thing. So what a
Yeah.
cool way to expand.
Yeah.
So you
And
have a
I think
lot of different office space. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm just craving that human interaction and that
Mm-hmm.
community within this space. So,
Mm-hmm. And others are craving that too. Like you said, we're connected, but we're connected
mhm.
online. And so to
Yeah.
get back to being connected in person is so important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
So,
I'm reading the Let Them theory right now.
ooh, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, it's Mel Robbins. It's so good. I
Okay.
think everyone like in their 30s should read it. It's all about like what's going on and like people's perception of you, and you're just like, oh, let them and then let me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about letting things go, but she has like entire 2 chapters I've read so far on friendships, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it is like the loneliness of being like, she says it starts in like your late 20s and your 30s, because of like proximity with friendship and energies, and we're all just in different stages of our life. So I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm just really craving that connection
Yeah.
because being in like, I don't want to say my mid to late 30s, but being in my mid to late 30s, like
Yeah.
I'm craving that connection with people and those friendships.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard to make friends as an adult.
It is very.
Um, so I think this is kind of my way of trying to remedy that or coping with it.
Absolutely. So not only is it like solving a issue that you're having, but there's other people out there facing the same things.
Mhm.
Like we go about our lives, we go to work, we come home, we stay home. So what is that? What's that third space? What's that outlet we can go to and find some
Exactly.
community?
Third
Mm-hmm.
space, that's a great way of looking
Love
at
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Thank you
might
for
have to
telling me
use
about
that.
that. I use it all the time. I'm all constantly looking for third spaces where I don't have to buy alcohol. Like, not that there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with that, but I don't need to associate a drink with everything I do, and that don't
Yeah.
cost money. So where do we go that I can communicate with other people?
Mhm.
So I know what you're trying to do. You want to build community and you want to do all this stuff. If somebody's thinking about doing this, what would you recommend they do to kind of get the word out and tell others, you know, what they're doing?
So do not underestimate Facebook. Those Facebook groups for your town, those mom groups, even though I'm not a mom, like that is where your audience is.
Hmm.
And that's where the book clubs form, that's where plans form. So I think you can use an advertising budget too on Facebook and target locally. I would
Hmm.
maybe do that for like $5 or $10, see how it does, but
Hmm.
don't underestimate Facebook groups. Hit like all your Facebook groups in surrounding towns.
Hmm.
If the yard sale groups let you do it too, or the free groups, like put it in there,
Hmm.
because the need is there and the
Yeah.
people will come. I think I'm in a unique position because I do have a large amount of followers,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure how many of them are local.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so, and I'm going to try to, there's a lot of small businesses in this space.
Hmm.
So I think if I can try to connect with those small businesses and also advertise within this building,
Hmm.
that will be good as well. Again, I'm just jumping into this, so I'm going to see
Yeah.
how like the first route goes. Maybe we need a follow-up
Right.
podcast in like
Yeah.
6 months.
Let's come back and
Um,
circle back, see how we're doing.
yeah, but my plan for right now is Facebook groups and like highly targeted Facebook ads, but like not spending more than like $10-15.
Yeah, because you want to put your money into the actual studio and what you're offering.
Yeah, and I think
Hmm.
it's important when you do have those classes, like make sure that there's things that are interactive they can be posting on social media. Like I'm going
Mm.
to have a big mural with the name of my studio, and like
Hmm.
maybe at the end you take pictures with your like just think about that.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to try to have a presence on social media, so like maybe people will start sharing maybe when I do post their photos or whatnot.
Hmm. And that's really smart because you don't have to be a content creator to do that. You can create the
Mhm.
space so others share you, and
Yep.
then it's word of mouth. Absolutely. And those
Yeah.
Facebook groups are huge. Like
Mhm.
that is where
I
everything happens.
I don't even think I have a leg up because I'm a content creator.
Hmm.
Like I don't think my audience is hyper local.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you don't need to be one at all.
Yeah. And I think that's really encouraging too. If you
Mhm.
have some type of crafting talent or whatever it is you want to teach, you don't need the rest. You can go
Yeah,
for it.
and if you're opening up a physical space, like I have friends who are crafters.
Hmm.
Like my sister wants to teach. My best friend is like this
Oh,
amazing rhinestone tumbler artist.
uh-huh.
So, and then my brother is a woodworker. So I don't know if he's going to join in, but I have mentioned it. So I'm like, who around me? Like, I don't need to be teaching all the classes.
Uh-huh. That is
Um,
really smart. I like that because that
yeah.
that is a lot of work depending on how full your calendar is to teach everything.
Mhm.
So where do you
Like,
think you want to start with what you're teaching specifically?
So I'm going to be starting with candle making.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never even blogged about it. I love candle making.
Okay.
Um, I was doing a lot of pottery. I wasn't good at pottery. So I had all these like weird small bowls that I
Uh,
started making into candles, and at every holiday someone got a candle with my
nice.
pottery. So I started out, I got like a big wax melter that
Mhm.
holds up to it's either 10 or 15 pounds of soy wax.
Wow.
So, like, that's going to be a really easy first project.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I figured out like how to make the iced coffee candles and then like what we can add to the candles,
Oh.
like different candle dye or like crystals or like does it melt a little
Mm-hmm.
bit and you have those friendship beads that start to pop up with a phrase.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
have a lot of plans. I've done a
Yeah.
lot of like research into things. And then, so we're gonna do candle making
Okay.
first. Then I am going to like candle painting has been like a really big thing.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and there's two different ways you can do it. So I'm actually testing it now. You can do it
Okay.
where you melt crayons, so like you're
Mm-hmm.
painting with actual wax, or you can paint with actual acrylic
Mm-hmm.
paint. And then I've got like all these like small resin bowls, and I'm gonna do UV resin, and you
Nice.
can like kind of do like a mixed media into it. So like
Mm-hmm.
whether you decoupage like a cool pattern on the bottom and then build it up with some foil, and then do we put some beads in, mica
Mm-hmm.
powder, and then that can be the first foray into UV resin.
Right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I want to do some embroidery classes.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to figure out right now how to incorporate Cricut into it.
Okay.
So I do a series of classes that's like you sign up for 4 classes and it is like your intro to Cricut, Cricut 101.
Okay.
Do I also like, can you do Cricut coaching with me? If you get
Mm-hmm.
a new machine, are you interested in a Cricut and just want to like come and use it for the first time? So I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure out that. I have a lot of machines, so we'll
So,
see.
yeah, so many possibilities. And I like when you're talking about the resin and the candles, like you just light up because you're excited about it. And that's what you want in a teacher, right? You want somebody that's like, I love doing this and I want to show you how to do it, which is so
Yeah.
cool. Cause like I want to come make one of those candles. I'm far too far away to do that, but that would be awesome.
Well, and then I also want to have like pop-up events. So have you
Oh,
seen like charm bars where
yes.
like it's the paperclip necklaces and the paperclip, not actual paperclip, but they're like
Yeah.
the bracelets that look, and then you can add your own charms to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other thought, and I actually got this from Corey and Angie's podcast. Um, they had someone come on, and this was right at the time where I was signing the lease,
Mm-hmm.
that was saying that hat bars are becoming like a big thing.
Okay. I
So
have seen shirt bars everywhere. Like
so I'm
the same
like,
concept.
so what if you just have a pop-up with like hats with shirts? You get like,
Mhm.
do you DTF some? I have a DTF printer, or you could get like order gang sheets,
Mhm.
or you have pre-cut vinyl, or you have like patches,
Mhm.
charms you can put on them. So I'm trying to think of like some fun pop-up events I
Oh,
could
that's
have too.
cool. Especially in the
Um,
summer, like, you've got festivals going on, you've got little different places you can go and showcase
mhm,
your stuff, which then leads back to, hey, I do this year round too.
yeah.
That is so
So
cool.
that's kind of where I'm at with classes. And then I have for Michael's went, okay, you guys, if you're doing this, you need to be shopping a year ahead of time. So Michael's just
Oh,
had their
smart.
90% off Christmas clearance. I got
Mhm.
all the floral picks, everything to do
Mhm.
wreaths for December. I got the giant 5-foot nutcrackers to do like a paint
Oh,
and sip night. I
nice.
bought all of the ribbon, whether it was like Christmas or it was just like the Christmas colors that I can use year round.
Mhm.
Um, got $2,000 worth of materials for like it was around like $180 because I
Oh
had
my
Michael's
gosh.
rewards. I
Oh my
filled up 4
gosh.
shopping carts.
That is amazing. That is so smart too, because otherwise you're paying for it full price in October or November next year, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and so I was trying, that's the biggest thing to kind of figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I'm reading, you want to spend like around $5, probably in this economy, $5 to $10
Mm-hmm.
per person per craft.
Mm-hmm.
And then, whatever you're charging, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
include like, okay, what's my rent in there? How am I
Mm-hmm.
paying myself? Um, so to get things that cheap, like I'm not at a place where I can buy wholesale yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and with Joann's going out too, like Michael's is really my only option here.
Uh-huh.
So I just need to be smart
Yeah.
about like I'm thrifting a lot of stuff now too.
Mm-hmm.
Like for candle making, I want to eventually get to the point where I like have enough teacups or vintage glasses to do like a
Yes.
cool like you can go up and pick your, but I'm not there yet because we're
It
just
takes
at the
time.
beginning.
It
Yeah.
takes time. But yeah, you have to think about that because, like you said, you got the big nutcrackers, which would be a very cool paint and sip night to do a nutcracker.
Mhm.
But those were expensive in November and you couldn't find them, like if they were
Yeah.
even in stock.
So I got them. They're the flat wood ones. They're not like the
Uh huh.
huge, like the blow mold ones. So
Yeah,
I think they were 19.99. So I got them for $1.90 each.
that's fantastic. And then you can
So
provide everything that they need to
yeah.
decorate it. And it's going to be a involved class. Like that is so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got so much on the horizon. This is awesome.
I've now
A
become a
lot of
craft
work.
hoarder. I'm like, where do I put all this stuff?
It will be in the corner of your studio that's not like on camera and
Yep,
yeah.
I'm literally looking at it on like my farmhouse table over there.
Nice. Nice. Good thing you have space. And then when they come in for classes, they don't have to see it. You can hide it in this studio and they, have the nice one down the way.
Exactly.
So, let's kind of wrap this up. If you could give somebody a piece of advice, like they are thinking about teaching in person, what's
Mhm.
the best piece of advice you could give to them?
Well, in general, with this, to kind of escape burnout or make it something that you're passionate about, follow your passions in life. So, for me, I'm like the typical ADHDer. You can probably tell that in my content because I'm like, here's some crafts, here's some recipes. Hey, I'm traveling to Europe. Want to come with me? Like, so for me to keep myself interested and to have a job that I absolutely love, I follow my passions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if it's something you can test out, I always say like this is something I learned in the marketing world. Like they say fail fast, fail cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So test things out, test the waters, see if it's something you like. For me, it was teaching online, and that's kind of how I'm doing it in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could use the business expense of another studio. So for me, at this point, it makes sense to have another physical space. But
Mm-hmm.
like if you were to do craft classes in like a local coffee shop or a brewery, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
like it's a good way to just test the waters. And I think it's a natural progression if you guys are doing craft shows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to start kind of like honestly, there's probably more money in teaching classes than there are in having a booth at a craft show. And this is
Yeah.
coming from someone who that's where I started.
Yeah.
Um, so
I think
yeah,
that's
just
great.
kind of test, follow those passions, see what you want to do. If it
Mm-hmm.
works out for you, it works out. If it doesn't, you probably learned
Mm-hmm.
and you either try again or you maybe follow your next passion.
Exactly. Follow your passion because you're going to enjoy
Mhm.
doing it. And if
Exactly.
you fail, you fail. You get back up and you move on. But you're
Hmm.
going to learn something. Exactly like you said. That's such great advice.
Yeah.
So we are
So.
going to link all of your links down below in the description, including I know you have an Instagram page set up
Mhm.
just for this that will have lots of content on it coming soon. I'm rooting for you. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
for this. I can't wait to see where you take it. And if you want to follow Michelle, if you want to learn more about what she's doing with her craft studio, but also if you want to learn how to make really good food or travel to Europe or make cricket crafts, go find her on Instagram, her website, and her YouTube channel. I've got it all linked down below. Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.